What does it mean when the baby is asleep? I'm wearing my Halloween costume, Nurse Chappell Roan. I got my makeup professionally done. Are you done, baby?
Yeah, Mama.
And we are a few days out from the 2024 election. It's time to play the blame game. But whose fault is it that now we all want to move to Saskatchewan? Is it the hyper MAGA bummer boys? Is it white women? Or is it one particular white woman? Your favorite scapegoat's favorite scapegoat, Chappell Roan. Chappell Roan is a feminine nominee whose 2023 debut album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, catapulted her to success over the past year. She is a big trans ally involving local queer performers and drag queens in her concerts. She also identifies as a female drag queen herself. She's used her concerts to raise money for Palestine. And in June of this year, she was invited to the White House to perform as part of their Pride event. She said that she was not going to do that because she disagreed with the way that the White House was handling the ongoing genocide in Gaza. She thought about even using that opportunity to read some poems from Palestinian women at the White House, but eventually decided against it. The Midwest Princess was not alone in her opinions on the Middle East. Throughout the Democratic primary that happened earlier this year, 700,000 votes went toward the uncommitted movement. That meant that rather than voting for Joe Biden, as many people would have otherwise done, they selected uncommitted to signal that they disapproved of how the administration was continuing to send arms and support to Israel, even though they were violating not only U.S. laws like the Leahy Law, which prohibits our arms being used in the commission of war crimes, but international laws as well. In March of this year, 75% of all Democrats and 63% of independents disapproved of the way that the Biden administration, which includes Kamala Harris, was handling the situation in Gaza. That was more tilted toward the younger voters and the more progressive wing of the party. And it was also more heavily tilted in the Arab and Muslim communities of Michigan. But then everything changed. We were knee deep in the presidential campaign and Joe Biden dropped out. Is it Kamala now? Ladies, you know what you want and you know what you need. But does it happen?
No.
But does it happen?
No.
What we really need is a Kamala nominee. Finally, the progressives felt a little bit of hope. Kamala Harris picked the main man, Tim Walz, to be her running mate. He had done a lot of really progressive things for his home state of Minnesota, and he had explained it in a way that made it seem like it was common sense, family-focused policy that everyone could get behind. The DNC in Chicago took place against the backdrop of widespread protests from the uncommitted movement and other supporters of Palestine. These were progressive Democrats protesting against their own party. These people wanted to fully back Harris. They wanted to certainly defeat Donald Trump. All they needed was just a sliver of hope that the Harris campaign could give them some vague idea of actually establishing a ceasefire in Gaza and ceasing the shipment of arms to Israel. Rather than demanding a lot, they suggested one speaker, a congresswoman from Georgia, that could speak to the suffering that was going on in Gaza and give glowing praise to Harris and her campaign while she did it. The DNC and the Democratic Party said no. A month later, Chappell did an interview with The Guardian, and they asked her, was she going to endorse someone in this presidential election? Chappell said, and I quote, I have so many issues with our government in every way. There's so many things that I would like to change, so I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides. If you're in the Pink Pony Club, it's very obvious that she was speaking from the left and criticizing the Democrats for being too centrist. She was saying the Republicans are completely ridiculous and the Democrats are not where they need to be. But many never Trump Republicans, many more centrist Democrats heard what she said and heard the phrase both sides and assumed that she was planting herself right in the middle of fascism and asking for a better standard of living and saying that they were both the exact same. The Bulwark had a whole video criticizing her. A lot of YouTubers had their hot takes saying that she was helping Trump and pushing for Trump by not coming out and endorsing Kamala. And Bill Maher had a whole segment dedicated to an open letter to Chappell Roan, where he suggested that because she has some racier lyrics, if she were to go to Palestine, they would throw her off a roof. The Harris campaign went on to get a few key endorsements. For example, the Cheney family decided to help out. And not only did Harris accept Liz Cheney's endorsement, but she made several key campaign stops with her in the very last weeks of the election. The general strategy was that while Trump is going after low propensity male voters, Harris was going to try to turn some never Trump Republican women or even some formerly Trump voting Republican women over to her side by focusing on issues like democracy and pro-choice, things that had been decimated under the Trump presidency. Now, Harris was, in a sense, right. That should have probably been enough. Obviously, things should have gone differently, but they didn't. Right near the end, there were a few key groups that the Harris campaign didn't seem quite able to reach. A lot of people genuinely were very concerned about inflation in the economy and the fact that Biden hadn't done enough to lower the price of groceries and hadn't really done much to address the housing costs in America. That was definitely a big issue. Biden has actually done a surprisingly good job with the economy, but those key points, they still hurt a lot of normal people and they weren't adequately addressed. And then on Tuesday, we found out how the rest of it went. Basically, Trump's support went down a little bit. A few people that had voted for Trump last time decided not to this time, and the Democrats hemorrhaged voters. It's now looking like the Democrat losses weren't quite as horrific as they seemed on Tuesday night, but it's still definitely across the board a downswing in Democratic turnout and definitely a downswing on Democratic youth turnout. Young Democratic women didn't show up the way that they needed to. But I would argue that young people weren't really listened to and were taken for granted as part of the Democratic coalition this time, rather than the wider party trying to incorporate their ideas and build a bigger movement together. They were kind of dismissed out of hand and accused of trying to help Trump whenever they were really just trying to help the Democratic Party be the most representative that it could be. And this is going to be a really painful time for a lot of people. It's a time that the Democratic Party needs to look squarely at itself and realize that the populist economic message that they've been fighting tooth and nail might actually resonate more with voters. The Democratic Party needs to realize that they need to tap into their base of actual support rather than hoping to convert some centrist Republicans. But for young people and for people who have been following this, I hate to say it, but we told you so. I hope the ending didn't come off as flippant. It's a song lyric. It's Good luck, babe. You should listen to it. And you should also like and subscribe if you want to. But thank you for watching my second video. I don't know how to add video clips to a video or edit using anything besides Canva. And also my microphone fell apart and is of potato quality, I know that. But I just had a lot of feelings after the election. And I had a lot of costume left over from Halloween. So thank you so much. And please be nice to me in the comment section. Have a wonderful day. And stay safe out there. Bye.